I thought of you when Ellen DeGeneres went through her thing, and she goes, my advice to everybody is, if you're going to be known as something, being known as the be kind lady is probably going to bite you in the ass. And I wondered what that whole queen of nice.
I have an epic war with Ellen DeGeneres, and I have a loathing for her that is epic in size as well.
So last night I got through most of the Sasha Riley tapes, the male Jeffrey E. victim who was a child at the time. And even though I suspected as much, it is still much, much, much worse than we ever anticipated.
Hollywood doesn't run on loyalty. It runs on ratings, money, and protecting its image. The second those things are at risk, the industry can turn on the people making the most noise. Kathy Griffin says that's exactly what happened after she stopped staying quiet about Ellen DeGeneres. Those are Kathy's own claims, and she's been very direct about them. She says Hollywood pushed her out because she refused to stay silent about powerful people.
You were canceled?
No,
Cancered?
hold on. Hold on. A lot of people were canceled. I was investigated by the Department of Justice.
So you're the queen of
Who
cancel.
put me under an investigation,
That's
interrogated me under oath, and were considering charging me.
I have so many lawyers, you guys. I've been sued 7 times. I was investigated by 2 agencies within the DOJ. I was on the no-fly list. I was on the Interpol list, which is the international version of the no-fly list. And I was on the Five Eyes list, which is the ISIS terror watch list. Because they pushed the narrative that I was the queen of ISIS.
Her career setbacks are well documented, even if people disagree about the reasons behind them. When asked if any of it felt exciting, she answered without holding back. A comedian speaks out, and suddenly the federal government is watching her every move. That statement sparked even more debate and questions. The story gets even more serious here. Ellen DeGeneres' name appears in released Epstein-related records, including a broader index connected to investigative materials. That fact led many people to revisit old rumors and online posts that had circulated years earlier. Some of those claims go far beyond what the available evidence supports, and it's important to separate verified facts from speculation.
Starting shit with Ellen just to start shit with Ellen because
She has nothing else going on.
she has nothing else going on. It's fun for me. I enjoy it. It's a victimless crime.
It is.
Once again, she's counting her money all the way around the world. She's selling houses. She and Ryan Seacrest are in some kind of arranged marriage. That's the real marriage you should be afraid of. Those two.
You think they're married?
I think they're just counting their money and they're doing who knows what kind of financial fraud schemes. They're both way too rich. They're very wealthy, both of them. And they're friends. They're in that house flipping mafia.
Another topic people often bring up involves clips of Ellen joking about islands on her show. Others compared parts of her set design to photos associated with Epstein's island. Some viewers thought the similarities were meaningful, while many others completely disagreed. The same clips have been interpreted in very different ways. One point should stay clear. Appearing in Epstein-related records or flight logs does not by itself prove wrongdoing. People can appear in those documents for many reasons, and the surrounding context matters much more than a name on a list. Jeffrey Epstein's private jet became widely known as the Lolita Express, a name that has drawn years of attention.
She was the air hostess on board the notorious Lolita Express, the billionaire's private jet at the center of a scandal making lurid headlines across the world. Sleazy Wall Street tycoon Jeffrey Epstein used the Lolita Express to ferry a bevy of beautiful young women. Among the passengers, former President Bill Clinton and Britain's Prince Andrew.
On almost every trip that I did go on, there were young girls around.
Former flight attendant Shantae Davies told Inside Edition about what she says she witnessed on board. Hired at 22 while pursuing acting, she said she and other young women were brought on to provide massages and yoga for Epstein and his guests.
In this Inside Edition exclusive, Shantae Davies takes us inside the secret world of the Lolita Express. Made several trips on Jeffrey Epstein's infamous Lolita Express. She says she was one of several young, attractive women hired to travel around the world.
Shantae said nothing sexual happened between her and Epstein. but she believed something troubling was happening around him.
Did you ever think that maybe more was going on than simple massages?
Looking back, of course.
Was there a bed on the airplane?
Actually, yes, there was, yeah.
On one flight, she prepared peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for passengers, including Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, and Bill Clinton, during a humanitarian trip to Africa using Epstein's jet.
So you never gave President Clinton a massage?
No, I didn't. They had shut down a jewelry store for us, and I helped him pick out a bracelet for Chelsea.
Even so, Shantae said the constant presence of young women with no clear careers raised serious concerns that she couldn't ignore.
You saw young women around Jeffrey Epstein, and they didn't seem to have regular jobs, and you started wondering, why are they here?
Yes, yes,
When you look back, are there red flags that you should have seen at the time?
definitely, yeah. Why fly anyone out to be a masseuse when there's plenty of masseuses in the same city?
Around the same time, Ellen DeGeneres faced growing criticism over reports about her workplace. Former employees described a toxic environment behind the scenes, and the be kind image came under heavy scrutiny. One former camera assistant compared the atmosphere to The Devil Wears Prada, while another claimed Ellen barely knew most staff members. Warner Media eventually opened an internal investigation. Online conspiracy communities quickly connected that controversy to much bigger claims. Their argument was that if Ellen's public image wasn't what it seemed, maybe other rumors deserved attention too. That's where speculation started to grow far beyond the verified facts.
I wasn't aware of that, but
not in the way that Ellen's talking about, I think. But, you know, I said the day it came out, look at this, the Queen of Nice. In a couple of years, it's going to be the Queen of Lice, the Queen of Fried Rice, you know, the Queen of we don't like her anymore. You know, I have an understanding of the cycle of show business and kind of what happens in people's careers and when enough is enough. And oftentimes people don't know that. You know, I think I have a good balance of both in my life, of the importance of, you know, of both. And it's hard to maintain. It's hard to do, especially when you're doing a show like that. But
some online theories even claimed her move to the United Kingdom after ending her talk show was an attempt to avoid accountability. However, there is no verified evidence supporting that claim. What those videos often leave out is Ellen's difficult past. She grew up in Louisiana before moving to Texas after her parents divorced. As a teenager, she watched her mother battle breast cancer and later said her stepfather crossed serious boundaries while pretending to check on her health. She has said she ran away after another incident and that her mother did not believe her account for many years. The controversy continued as former stepsister Rory Rose publicly disputed Ellen's story. Kevin Smith also claimed Ellen walked out of the Chasing Amy premiere because a straight director made a film centered on a lesbian relationship. The backlash had major consequences. Her ratings reportedly fell by about 35%. The Ellen DeGeneres show came to an end, and she stepped away from a reported $50 million yearly salary.
you know, I don't think it was the be kind thing that got her. I think that's simplification, but it was a lot of things and it was complicated. And I'm glad that she's, going to be finished and she can get some time, to herself to just, it's a huge kind of strange thing to be on a show like that and have all that attention on you. And she had it for like 19 years. So, it's a tough thing.
You thank Ellen DeGeneres. It's the very last thing you see on screen, and you guys haven't been the closest.
No, we have a beef. At least in my mind, we do. I don't think she doesn't give a shit about me, but I just love giving Ellen shit because it just never gets old. She just can't stand it. She has no sense of humor about herself. We had a fight one time that was a knockdown, drag out, screaming on the phones, both of us screaming.
Her stand-up tour also reportedly sold below expectations, and after decades in entertainment, Ellen announced her retirement and moved to the United Kingdom. But this story goes beyond one celebrity. Covering up major scandals doesn't happen through one person's reputation alone. It can involve money, powerful connections, and influence that keeps stories from spreading. Jeffrey Epstein operated in elite circles, and Ellen DeGeneres also moved among many high-profile figures. The U.S. Department of Justice still has millions of unreleased pages tied to Epstein.
That's the GOP, guys protecting pedophiles. It should be the GPP, guys protecting
files. And some women too. Some women who, I can't even believe it. It was young girls that Epstein's island catered in, where he went many, many times. And to say, yeah, we're going to release the Epstein files. Yeah, the Epstein files are on my desk. Oh, yes, any minute we're going to release. There are no Epstein files. That was the next claim. There are no Epstein files. There's no list. He's not on the list because there is no list.
So what do the records that have been made public actually show? Elon Musk has said Epstein invited him to visit the island and that he declined. However, a 2012 email released in court records shows Musk writing to Epstein,
Let's start with Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. Last year, Musk posted online, quote, Epstein tried to get me to go to his island and I refused. But here's the thing, the new documents show Musk tried to socialize with Epstein. In 2012, Musk asked Epstein, quote, what day/night will be the wildest party on your island? Now, over the weekend, Musk wrote, I had very little correspondence with Epstein and declined repeated invitations to go to his island. But Musk did not appear to be addressing the emails around the party that he specifically had with Epstein, or the emails in 2013 that appear to show Epstein's staff coordinating a visit for him to SpaceX, one of Musk's many companies.
Publicly, he has not addressed that email or reported 2013 correspondence about a possible SpaceX visit. Film producer and New York Giants co-owner Steve Tisch also appears numerous times in released records. Some messages show Epstein trying to introduce him to women.
In one 2013 exchange about a woman, Tisch wrote, quote, pro or civilian? Yeah, that's what he wrote. In a statement from the Giants, Tisch said in part that he only had, quote, brief association where we engaged emails about adult women. He had to clarify adult women and other topics. He said that he never took Epstein up on, quote, any of his invitations and never went to his island. As we all know now, he was a terrible person and someone I deeply regret associating with. End quote.
Dr. Peter Attia's name also appears frequently in the records.
Dr. Peter Attia, that's a new name for a lot of people, the celebrity longevity influencer, appears in the files more than 1,700 times.
Emails show the two were in contact, including visits to Epstein's Manhattan home. In one message, Attia wrote,
the biggest problem with becoming friends with you, the life you lead is so outrageous, and yet I cannot tell a soul.
He later issued a public apology, calling some emails embarrassing, tasteless, and indefensible, while denying any criminal involvement. Prince Andrew also appears throughout the released files and has repeatedly denied wrongdoing.
His name appears several hundred times in these new documents. That includes an invitation for Epstein to have dinner at Buckingham Palace in 2010, and photos that appear to show Andrew kneeling over an unidentified woman who's lying on the floor.
Attorney Brad Karp was also identified in the records. After reports about a 2015 dinner with Epstein and Woody Allen resurfaced,
the documents show Epstein's team arranging for Karp's children to attend a Woody Allen film screening. In 2015, the day after a scheduled dinner, including Karp and Allen, Karp emailed Epstein to say, you are an extraordinary host and you're amazing. On Monday, the law firm issued a statement to the New York Times qualifying their interactions, saying Karp regrets those interactions, but by Wednesday, Karp abruptly stepped down as chairman of Paul Weiss. The Wall Street Journal reported some of the firm's top partners decided he could not continue in that role, though he does remain at the firm.
That leads to another question. What happens to people who publicly share abuse allegations when attention fades? One person who has spoken publicly is retired Army Sergeant Sasha Riley. Riley has alleged being abused as a child in the 1980s by a network of powerful individuals and has claimed Epstein was not the central figure.
He was a mid-level employee in this whole operation. He was like the general manager of a franchise. He was not the CEO. You know, being in the mental health field for over 20 years and specializing in trauma, I have heard some of the most horrific stories that I think I could have ever imagined. And I've had to develop the skill to learn how to hear these stories and not have a reaction so I could be there for my patients. Not many stories affect me anymore, but this one did.
Riley has publicly identified others and said police reports were filed at the time. Those allegations have not been established in court.
I believe that these are credible reports for several reasons. One, I believe victims. 2, Sasha has provided their entire identity and also name quite a few people in this report. And if someone's telling the truth, they cannot get in trouble for defamation. 3, Sasha filed multiple police reports as a child, and they are in the process of collecting those reports. Sasha's reporting of the incidents is unfortunately very consistent with somebody who has had complex trauma. Some details are remembered very clearly, some things are a blur, but the thing that got me the most is that Sasha said, I remembered the faces of the people that scared me the most, the people who I even knew as a child would be the most likely to take my life.
According to Riley, one face stood out above the rest. The audio recordings were made before any public file releases, and supporters say many of the events described can be independently checked. They also provide additional context for a reported email in which Epstein allegedly described the Orange Man as the most evil person he'd ever known.
And many of the instances can be corroborated. But it now makes sense as to why Jeffrey E. in his email said that the Orange Man was the most evil person he's ever met. Sasha said they are willing to testify in front of anybody. So we need to make sure that everybody knows about this, because this will be the thing that brings the dictator down. If you are a survivor, this may not be good for you to listen to, but you know yourself the best.
Sasha Riley has repeatedly said they're willing to testify publicly because the allegations involve viewers should decide for themselves whether they're prepared to hear that kind of testimony. At the center of Riley's account is the claim that adoptive father William Kyle Riley worked as a pilot for Jeffrey Epstein. Riley has made that allegation publicly, and it later gained wider attention after Rosie O'Donnell and Kathy Griffin discussed the story. Rosie had already criticized mainstream media over its coverage of Epstein, arguing that important information was being overlooked. She also encouraged followers to research temporal frontal lobe dementia on their own. At the same time, Kathy Griffin planned to feature Riley on her podcast, where Riley intended to explain the allegations and claimed connections to Epstein's network. The interview had the potential to draw major attention. Then everything changed. Shortly before it was scheduled to air, the interview was canceled. No public explanation fully answered why, and that fueled even more online speculation. Some believed Riley was about to name influential people, but there is no verified evidence supporting that conclusion. Riley's supporters argue the claims are supported by years of public statements and documents from multiple jurisdictions. They believe that history adds credibility, while others say the allegations still require careful scrutiny and independent verification. Another name often brought into these online discussions is Chrissy Teigen. Social media users have pointed to old clips and tweets, including a video where she joked about trying human flesh at a fictional fancy restaurant, and several posts many people later found disturbing.
If you were at a very fancy restaurant, a human, you wouldn't try a tiny bite? Really?
Absolutely not.
Is that terrible?
Let's not forget the tweets of her saying if you could eat this one bite of it, you could eat any other meat for the rest of your life. Or eat turkey forever, and she would choose.
Those comments have fueled online debate, but they do not by themselves establish any connection to criminal activity or to Epstein. Then there are posts and comments people continue to debate online, including, "I'm going to jail over pizza," references to Anthony Weiner, and several other unusual jokes. Some internet users argue those posts form a pattern, while others see them as nothing more than dark humor. Other examples often mentioned include stories about baby powder and fried chicken, an aquarium visit, pizza references, and old interviews. Supporters of these theories believe they're connected, but no public evidence has established that conclusion. More recently, online creators have tried linking Teigen to wider Hollywood controversies, arguing that some celebrities avoid lasting consequences despite repeated public criticism. Those claims remain heavily disputed. That brings the focus back to Kathy Griffin, Rosie O'Donnell, and Sasha Riley. Their supporters question why their statements have generated so much backlash, while critics challenge the credibility of many of the allegations. Much of this story remains contested, with verified facts, personal claims, and online speculation often becoming mixed together. As always, examine the available evidence, think critically, and decide for yourself where the facts end and the theories begin. If you want more Hollywood deep dives, subscribe and stay tuned.